Hey there. Jen, can you hear me? I can't hear you all.
Hear us now?
Yep. All
Okay.
good, thank you.
It's gonna mute it for a little bit.
Okay.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Chuck Davis,
Here.
Councilman Mike Cooley,
Here.
Councilwoman Kathy Beck,
Here.
Councilman Bud Barkhurst,
Here.
Councilman Jerry Fletty.
Here. Has everybody had a chance to look at the agenda? Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda? A motion to approve the agenda as read.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as read.
And second. I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of last month, the minutes from August 20th, 2024. We had a chance to review those. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from August 20th, 2024?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the 24th.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll move on to approval of the bills. We have deposits in the amount of $354,364.35. Accounts payable in the amount of $86,885.61. Transmittals in the amount of $23,431.50. And payroll in the amount of $47,840.24. Questions? Do I have a motion to approve the deposits, accounts payable and transmittals?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll move on to, right under that, treasurer is gonna give us a report tonight.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I just wanted to update you all on how we ended out with the fiscal year for 2024. And it's all of our WyoStar accounts, the WIGUP accounts, and our Rollins National Bank account. We ended up with $10,347,210.03. And all that. After we went through and looked through everything to see where all the accounts fell out, we transferred more money into WyoStar for our water maintenance, our water, our sewer, and the airport and the volunteer fire department as well. So do you want an update on each individual WyoStar account after the transfers or ending fiscal year?
Ending fiscal year.
Okay. So in the Rollins National Bank, we had $980,774. And in our Never Forget Park account ending fiscal year 24 was 188,982.85. Our sewer fund was at 837,590.16. The general fund with the WIGF account was 64,920.76. Our 911 assessment with the WIGF account was 1,138.28. Our WyoStar water account is 986,652.88. Our water tank savings in the WyoStar is 222,451.57. The weed and pest account with WyoStar is 253,543.07. Our pest fund account with WyoStar was at 12,783.13. Our Bridge Street account of WyoStar is 140,883.90. Our Gateway West impact was at 1,634,893.64. Our ARPA grant account with WyoStar was 300,637.13. Our TB/Ecola Flats impact funds with WyoStar was 153,145.72. Our airport fund with WyoStar is at 218,872.59. Our specific purpose in WyoStar was 2,718,679.10. Our fire department, WyoStar, is at 43,823.95. And our general fund with WyoStar was 1,320,356.35. And our Transwest impact funds was 252,647.50. Just to let you know how much interest we made with the WyoStar accounts last year. Fiscal year ending 24 was 333,171.68. Does anybody have any questions or want me to elaborate anymore?
Questions?
Nope.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to correspondence. Correspondence. We'll move on from items from the public. We have a special event application from Sophia Board.
Hello,
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Good.
I would like to do the same thing that we did last year with Fall Fest and needing the road closed again, just for safety, going back and forth between my lot and the town parking lot, if that is possible.
Okay.
I think it was a good success last year.
Okay. Like everything in order here. Do you have a problem with closing that portion of the road again?
None whatsoever.
So I think it's working well for the farmers market too.
Yeah, I agree.
Are there any questions about this special application? A motion to approve this special events application for the Fall Festival.
I'll make a motion to approve this application.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
I have a question too.
Okay.
The power pole that is out there, is there any way that we can tie into that for the musicians if we pay for like how much usage for the day or anything like that? Instead of having to use
Is there a
generator?
plug-in on it?
There is on this pole back here. It used it before, but here recently it was locked up.
It was definitely locked up last year.
Yeah, oh, okay. So I don't know who actually.
Let us do a little research on that, but if the town owns it, I don't see a problem with it yet.
Okay.
But if we don't own it, I don't know. We may have to make other arrangements like with
Oh,
the
we
power
used
cord out of
generators
here.
last year, so it's not like a huge ordeal. We have a plan if we can't use it, but if we could use it, that would be tremendous.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be a problem if it's our plug-in,
Okay,
okay?
or whoever's it is, maybe we can just sweet talk.
And if it's not ours, I'll pass the word along to you and you
Perfect.
can talk to them.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll move on to
Leslie Jefferson with the Carbon County Visitor Council.
Hello, I am Leslie Jefferson with Discover Carbon County. We are the local lodging tax board, Carbon County Visitors Council. With me here is Casey Schinkel. He is our board chair this year. We also have in the audience Megan McComas, who is our marketing director or manager, and Cindy Luce will be coming up shortly to talk about an opportunity that she'll do. And we also have Mary Pat, who is our secretary this year. She is on our board from Rollins. So tonight, I just wanted to cover the tourism master plan. I know that our representative that you had appointed had briefly gone over it. I do apologize. There was some confusion in June. And once everything kind of started being talked about last week, I thought I should just come up, clear up a few things about the tourism master plan, what the purpose is, what the process was, and what we discovered. And then we'll just tell you a little bit about the projects we've been working on in 2024. So the purpose of the Tourism Master Plan is to help guide and develop the Carbon County travel industry for the benefit of residents and visitors alike. It provides a 10-year plan that will provide a roadmap to an attractive future. The process, we asked over 30 people, maybe even 40 people to join us. That was from the hospitality industry, as well as business industry, power industry, influential people in communities, town council members, and what we ended up with is a 27-person steering committee. We reviewed 26 different reports and plans and research studies that all related to master plans in all of our 11 communities or 10 municipalities. And then we were looking for the common denominators of that. We did contract Darren Rudloff. He's with Rudloff Solutions out of Cheyenne. He's the one that took us through that process. What we determined, we came up with a travel industry vision. That vision is Carbon County offers an authentic Wyoming experience filled with scenic beauty, outdoor recreation options, and unique communities. There was 4 strategic opportunities that we found that we would like to address, or at least try to help each community come up with a plan where we can help you. That's the visitor experience. The visitor experience can include anything as you're driving into town, helping clean up, signage, wayfinding signage, anything like that. Outdoor recreation, we have a plethora of outdoor recreation. We know that we have we have 2 state parks. Historic site is not a park, but then we have Seminole. We also have a great resource in the Platte River as well as in Encampment Rivers, Little Snake River. So we have lots of outdoor recreation to be had. There's all sorts of things that we can address and we can help with. We also want to help and come alongside at hospitality and economic development. First and foremost, this year we are working on a new hospitality workforce education program. Casey is actually coming alongside us. Casey has a hospitality degree. What's your degree in? Sorry.
So I have a degree in hospitality management.
So what we've found is that we started a program, and I don't know how many of you are aware, but we had a program. Hi, sorry. Sorry, Joan. I'm like, oh, it's Joan. Hi. No, I went to school together. Sorry. Anyhow, so we found that a lot of people don't know what is out there in the county. A lot of people, if you go up to McDonald's and say, hey, we're going to be here for a few hours. Is there anything to do? And they're like, no, I have some more coffee. So we just want to make sure that we have an opportunity of teaching that workforce. Hey, there's a lot of things to see and do in Carbon County. We really fall into that program, that stress when the roads are closed. What's there to do? We have museums that are still open in Rollins. Saratoga will open the museum. Encampment will open his museum. So there's opportunities there that we can get people out doing things. in Carbon County. So we hope to launch that this fall. And the last opportunity is partnerships and advocacy. Our master plan sets a roadmap for us to follow. And what we found is we need to know each community is unique and has their own plans and maybe their own concerns about tourism or things that we can help come alongside and improve, or we can help find a solution to. We just don't know. So that is why we are contracting someone. But before I get to that contractor, I am going to go through a few of our projects in 2024. We produce a travel guide each year. That travel guide for the last 7 years has been through a local firm here, and it's VIP Marketing. She does a wonderful job. I try to make sure that we're putting that money back in. All those lodging tax dollars are created here in Carbon County. There's a 2% local lodging tax that's approved every 4 years, as well as 2% comes from the statewide lodging tax. So we're managing that bucket of money. And what I really try to do, and what our board really tries to do, is keep as much money as we possibly can in our county. So that's just turning us over. We also are working with in Trona County, the county commissioners on both sides, and Visit Casper on the Pathways National Heritage Area. We've been talking about it for a long time. We have completed our feasibility study, and we're now going to submit it to the National Park Service this fall. Carbon County Park Challenge, the UW Extension Office has a program that we are helping with. Currently, we're trying to get content for her signage. That's Abby Perry with UW Extension Office. If she hasn't been here, she will be. She's just got a little busy with 4-H this last summer. Mobile Visitor Center. So in cooperation, or I should say with the grant funding from the Wyoming Office of Tourism, we were able to invest in a mobile visitor center. I don't know how many of you have seen our Jeep or the ducks that we were throwing out this summer. That was a way to get people more information. We also launched an app on the ducks. If you went to the QR code, you would be able to download our app. The app pretty much has all the information that our website has in it. It's going to tell you things to do. When you're on the map, it's going to show you, in the area, what's there to eat, what kind of restaurants, what kind of activities you can do. We have virtual visitor centers. We have small kiosks, as well as 3 large A-frame kiosks that will be installed and up and running by the end of this month.
Where at?
The 3 large ones, one will be in Riverside, Rollins, and then the town of Dax. The smaller ones one is in the Best Western in Rollins. Dave Rader with Econo-Lodge has asked for one. Elk Mountain has asked for one. They haven't determined if they want that in the hotel or the library, possibly the museum or the town. I had sent out an email. I can definitely send that email out again. If you wanted one somewhere here in Saratoga, we're more than happy to get one installed. We also were involved with the Parco Sinclair 100th celebration. We made a tour for them. That tour is on our app and it's live. The celebration was great if anybody went. We also invest with the Office of Tourism. We were able to do co-ops. It's usually a 50-50 relationship. So if they had destination optimization through TripAdvisor this year. So what we did was we invested in that. Miles Partnership looks at everything on TripAdvisor, who's registered, who's not. What we're just trying to improve that look for the entire county, whether it's Rags, Elk Mountain, Hannah. We just want to make sure everybody's business is up and online and they have some positive reviews. So this year, I'm excited to announce, and I apologize, I haven't got my PR sheet out on it. But we did ask for funds from the Wyoming Office of Tourism for this biennium. So it's July 1st, 2024, and it runs all the way to June 30th, 2026. What we asked for was funding to help form an avalanche forecast center. So today I actually was with Sheriff Bakken and we were at the commissioners meeting and I was telling him we came alongside of that program and we're investing with the Office of Tourism $65,000. We knew that was a need. I had written a letter earlier in the spring on a grant that wasn't awarded to Sheriff Bakken, so I knew we had that need. Everything that's physical that we could help purchase is what we asked for. And we were awarded that money. Also Medicine Bow, the town of Medicine Bow, as well as the museum, the Office of Tourism, and all of the 2018 donors that were trying to get the fossil cabin moved from 13 miles east, actually to adjacent to the museum. We got funding for that. I've signed one contract. There's 3 contractors, so hopefully it will get up and off the ground. And we do have the full 2 years to get it done. So hopefully, and the last thing is destination development specialist. Why did we do that? We have 11 different communities. We have 10 municipalities. And when I started the Tourism Master Plan Roadshow, as like I like to call it, I went to Hannah, Elk Mountain, Medicine Bow, Encampment, and Riverside, and I found out very quickly that not everybody saw what the board and I saw, that everybody wants their own input in how we can help them. So truly, us contracting Cindy Luce, she is homegrown, well, sort of, I mean, that sounded weird, but she is from our area. She knows marketing. She knows the tourism master plan backwards and forwards. She was there at every meeting. She was the logical choice for us. If we would have chose somebody outside, they would have to play catch up. If they were in Wyoming, they would have to play catch up. But if we got some contractor from a different state, it would be years to take. So we wanted to hit the ground running. So I'd like to introduce Cindy Luce as our destination specialist. And she's just going to talk a little bit about what she's going to do for each community and what she's going to provide to us. So we have a roadmap on how we can help you, especially in the next biennium destination development grant funding. But did anybody have any questions for us before we take it, I guess?
So, I do. John Ziegler and I had talked or messaged Casey. I guess I'm curious, and maybe Cindy's going to cover it on. I know there's a lot of maybe miscommunication on wanting to switch mottos for the town, so I was just curious what that's all about.
I can tell you that that is my error. When we discussed in July, at our July meeting, we were discussing what we had in the destination development grant application. I was going through exactly what was going to be done, giving details. I was questioned on exactly what is Cindy going to be doing. And I said, well, she's going to be speaking to branding of every community. But I probably didn't term it well enough because I got further questions. And I'm the one that said it. I said, well, for example, those signs in Saratoga, the fish jump on Main Street. I said, I don't know. I think that's pretty old and that might come up. I never said that would change. I was just trying to give out, examples of what Cindy would be covering. And I am not Cindy. So I would like her to speak to exactly what she'd be covering because I did such a poor job and I do apologize.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That answer your question, John?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. I have one quick question.
Yes,
You guys manage the lodging tax?
yes.
How's that split between the communities? What determines what each community gets?
So state statute, we're governed by state statute mostly. We can give up to 10% back to the communities that the lodging tax was collected in. So you see that monthly. We give back the lodging tax. So we're giving we're giving the towns as much as we can. We also give out through our grant processes, marketing grants, sponsorship grants. We have some branding, some larger branding grants. One of those examples are 4th of July the band. We helped pay for the staging, so that was a bigger branding amount, if that makes sense. So usually it's capped, there's smaller events, it's capped at 4,000 during it's shoulder season, what we call it. So anything between Labor Day and Memorial Day, you'll get up to $4,000. In the summer, it would only be 2,000. That's because we have so much going on.
Who determines how it's split and where it goes and?
Well, the board gets to decide that, yes.
Cause you say 10%, so there's 90% of it.
90%
Not coming.
managed, and we're taxed with promoting Carbon County as a premier destination. So the bulk of our budget goes into marketing. We can pay, when they changed this to the statewide tax, they did open it up, and we can pay for educational signage is what they termed it. So the wayfinding signage and that kind of thing.
Got a question in the back, Chuck?
Yeah, 1 second. I want to follow up with this and then I'll get to you, Chia, thinking. You're governed by state statute
Yes.
and then the rest you determine, the board?
The board helps budget that money, yes.
I just wanted to clarify. Chia?
Chia Valdez, concerned citizen, Saratoga. Is this, just educate me, is the Visitors Council a volunteer board? Is all this volunteer?
We're all appointed by the municipalities within Carbon County. But
And-
volunteer.
So, but it's a volunteer board?
Any additional questions? Thank you.
Welcome. May I have Cindy? Thank you.
All righty. First of all, let me address you, John, and just say I am not in favor of changing a slogan. The ideas that will come out of what I present today, they're ideas from the community. It's nothing that Discover Carbon County can tell you what to do. They can't come in and tell you, change your slogan. I can't tell you that, nor would I ever offer that. I love that slogan. But moving forward, ladies and gentlemen of the council, I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. Today, I'd like to present you with a voluntary opportunity to work with Discover Carbon County to promote the visitor experience and related improvements you'd like to see in your community. Discover Carbon County has hired me to work with each of the 11 communities in the county. And so far, everyone I've approached about this idea has responded enthusiastically and wants to work with me to develop their communities. There is no cost to you to take advantage of this opportunity. In fact, there are funds for signage, as Leslie has indicated, and other tourism-related projects. A tool that has been proven to help many destinations is place branding. It's driven by input from your community members and the development of the ideas by a representative committee for each community. When you look at our communities, they all have their own identity and reputation. But what they lack is a unified place brand for each community. So what is a place brand? Well, by definition, it's the totality of people's thoughts, feelings, and expectations about a location. It's the place's character, reputation, and essence. The goal of place branding is to honor the unique character of each community. It's about being strategic in what is valued and attractive to visitors, such as our parks, our attractions, our trails, walkability, art, food choices, etc. But it also should focus on what should never be lost and what should be left alone, untouched, and preserved. Essentially, it should preserve the right balance between livability and growth. By developing a place brand strategy, you'll have the toolkit and actions for managing and communicating your location's competitive identity. This strategy lays the foundation for cooperation and a unified marketing by revealing who a place is, what makes them distinctive and special, and their vision for the future. It will be a beacon to guide all partners in presenting the location. One unified voice, one look for each community. Let me walk you through the 3 phases of this project. A lot of text here, so I'll be brief.
Thank you.
Cindy, could you please leave one with Jen so it can be dropped off in my box and I'll pick it up when I get back?
Sure thing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The voice. All right. There are 3 phases to a place brand strategy. The first is the research, and that's what I'll be doing for every community. It's an analysis and an assessment to understand our image, our reputation, our assets, and our experiences. I'll be analyzing the visitor perception. I'll be going through online reviews and testimonials. And, I've been taking pictures of how we look to a visitor when they arrive into our towns. Is there a place that says welcome? Not all communities have that. Some do, some don't. I'll be looking at the critical touch points. If somebody wants to come here, what is the journey they go through after seeing an ad that Leslie has placed? Do they find a location to stay? What does that website look like? I work with stakeholders such as lodging establishments, dining, our museums and other attractions, and do face-to-face interviews to give them an idea of how we're presenting ourselves to visitors when they make the decision to come here. I'll also be doing, I'm nervous, these resident surveys. We've set up a QR code that you can take this online. We'll also be making these available. I'll be visiting different groups like Tuesday Talks, making sure you have a hard copy to fill out for those that don't use the internet, and make sure every voice and everybody's opinion is represented. I'll also be doing a competitor analysis of how we stack up with other communities around us when it comes to attracting the visitors. The next step is the creation of the brand. And that won't be up to me, as I said before. That's up to you as a community. I've already been talking with lots of people in the community about this idea, and they've said, yeah, I want to get involved. I want to be involved in shaping the vision of our community. And these are people who are our leaders. They're Amanda at the chamber. There are long-term residents, short-term residents, some youth. I mean, this should be something that we do as a community, is take charge of who we are and our messaging. This committee, the Brand Leadership Committee is what I'm calling them, will reveal who you are, who you want to become, what differentiates you, your voice, placemaking, reimagining places shared by residents and visitors, branded wayfinding, storytelling, and brand experiences. They'll also look at your visual identity. This is your logo, your slogan, what colors. If you're going to do signage, how do we all agree on what color and what they should look like and the shape? Well, that would be up to these group of people to kind of come forward with a plan. They would also create a manual and guidelines. I talked about things that we should preserve. Our downtown is pretty special, but right now there's not really anything to stop anybody from coming in and buying empty storefronts and leaving them empty. These would be topics for this committee. When they are finished, and this will take place October through next May, meet 4 times in each community. They would have this plan to submit to the town councils and city councils and their communities for adoption. And then we would launch the brand. The last phase is the action, where we actually sit down and say, we have a strategy for placemaking. We know what we want the hot pools to look like over time. We know what we want to see at Veterans Island. We want things maybe to be repaired, and where would we look for that funding? This is a grassroots brainstorming group. And like I said, the people I've talked to are excited to be a part of it, to be a part of the solution. There's a long laundry list here of the actions. They would work to develop our experiences, have plans for infrastructure, visitor services, maybe interpretation, telling our stories all around the community, who the partnerships should be. You know, if we want a trout that leaps on Main Street, maybe we need to partner people with the Arts Council and develop a sculpture or a fountain to put on a cornerstone. What's about that? It's not even like And then, of course, the last thing this group would do is create annual audits, grant checklists. So every year we can come prepared for the visitor to come and experience the community on our terms. So, as I've said, this is an exciting opportunity. I do hope you'll consider working with me and the team at Discover Carbon County to promote the visitor experience and related improvements you'd like to see in your community. Thank you for your time.
A couple of questions, Cindy. You say these 8 to 12 people creates a committee. Is that going to be per town, per municipality? Okay.
Well, per town. I mean, it can be anybody. I'm hoping there'll be some high school kids and young adults come forward and just all kinds of people.
Yeah, but I mean, you're not going to bring people from Bags helping us decide what we're wanting over here, vice versa.
Would you like me to do that?
No.
Okay.
I just wanted to clarify that later wrote out. No. And then once this committee decides on a few things, this will be brought back to the town, back to
Yeah.
the council.
I mean, ultimately you adopt it. You say, yeah, we agree that all the signs should be green and have a trout leaping on them. You know, and this would be thoughtfully presented to you. This wouldn't be some fly by night. We think we should do this. I mean, what we want to avoid is this sign pollution and random thoughts. I mean, you get this all the time. People come to you and say, we ought to replace that sign. Well, what should it look like? You know, and there are communities that, you know, they don't have welcome signs. And so we're at the very beginning. They don't have a slogan. So this is kind of my way of bringing the community together so that we can talk about who we are individually.
And then my biggest question is what we decide to change, how will that be funded?
Well,
Where do we go for funding?
I'm hoping this committee will work on that too. I'm hoping that, you know, like Leslie said, she can provide signs. I really do want a fountain. So, you know, I'm going to look for that. I'm going to find some donors. I'm going to find grants. I'm going to find, you know, people who are as passionate about as I am. Art. I think there's opportunities for that to work.
That, you know, that's always the concern of the council is funding.
Well,
And then maintenance after the funding.
Yeah.
That's the two biggest things we look at. Or one of the biggest things, or especially I do. I think the council would agree with me.
And Chuck, I hope you'll be on this committee. So when we come up with harebrained ideas that you say, I'm not going to waste the council's time.
Chia, you have a question?
Yeah, a question and a statement. My statement is, I thought we already had a brand. I thought Saratoga was a brand, and that's why people come here. So that's my statement. My question though is in this planning and zoning conference that I was sent to, you know, you get a little knowledge and then it's kind of scary because like, oh, I don't know anything. So, the thing that came out is public involvement. And that is like the 17 states that were there. The whole thing was public involvement. How do you get more public involvement? One. And then number two, it always seems to be the same 6 people in every town deciding who's gonna do what. So just if you could speak to that.
Sure. First of all, I don't want to get in the weeds too deep about branding and marketing and all the stuff I know. But let's be really clear, brand is assigned by the visitor. Marketing is our message we put out. So we tell people, we are the place for trout leaps on Main Street. On Main Street. The visitor will come and they'll say, you know what, you're a retirement community. They might say, you know what, you're a retirement community. And that is the brand you carry. You know, well, it is and it isn't. If you want to do that and you want to own it, yeah, it's great. But if you want more families to move here, you know, these are the discussions you as community will have. Yes.
Could I ask you again about the meetings that you mentioned? 4 meetings.
4 meetings.
Hard of hearing, I'm not sure.
Yeah, you know, I met with Dick Peru. That's where this started. He said, when are you gonna have meetings? I said, oh, every month. I'm excited. And he said, I'm not coming to every meeting, so I'll make 4. So 4 it is. And I figured that's okay. That'll give us time to work on things in between meetings. Yeah, I'll be busy.
And they'll be publicized when
Yes,
available.
yes. Yeah, I'll be doing a survey. This is a survey. It has a QR code to it. And I'll be making my, contact information public, same with Discover Carbon County. And they'll be putting things out on Facebook to let you know when we're meeting, where we're meeting, and what, the agenda, the topic will be. Yes, sir.
John K. Williams, happy citizen. I'm talking slow on this because the first one I responded is it's on Facebook that we were talking about trout fishing Main Street. I was born in Pennsylvania, raised in Ohio. Came out here every summer in the tourists, the old 60s gas was cheap. And then I put it on property, the whole section up by Laramie Peak, that's where I learned it. Rookie fish. And Saratoga does already have a character and we have a personality. And I just hope that the council lets us all move slow on that. Because I also, 30 years in Saratoga, hospitality. Plus I've been involved in construction. I am an American Mountain Man Association member. The outdoors here, what we have to offer, we have everything to offer. Moved for a while and I moved back 2 years ago. Kept hearing, let's not let us turn into a steamboat. And so in that, we can't turn into a steamboat because we don't know ski resort right here in town. But we sure can become a code. And my concerns on that. Talking about a fountain, we're talking about moving slow. Is this like going to be a fountain with a rainbow trout? Because I'm an artist also. Like a rainbow trout and the fountain water's coming out of the mouth. Because I just think we should move real slow because we have such a character. If we start playing with our character, it'd be like if I went home and cut off my mustache and beard. We lose our character. So that's it. I like a lot of that I'm hearing because in food service and hospitality, you need tourists. You also got to make the locals happy.
Very true. It is a balance.
Yeah.
Are you a Steelers fan?
I'm Pittsburgh all the way for Steelers.
You and I are gonna be friends.
Yeah. You gotta be careful saying that in Saratoga, the Broncos.
All right. Any other questions for me?
I have a question, Cindy.
Kathy?
Could you tell us again how you intend to gather those folks who are interested in being part of that committee for the community? Or are we gonna just start with the first meeting and see who would like to branch out from there? Is it the communities, it's open to the community, and then we'll form this group specifically to help guide the way? How is that plan? How do you plan to do that?
Yeah, so in communities where I'm familiar with a lot of people, I'm trying to glean those leaders. Like I said, I'm trying to get Amanda from the chamber and different people who are involved in the tourism story here. In communities I don't know, I'm relying on the representatives from Discover Carbon County to help me find those movers and shakers and people who are passionate about the vision of their community.
Okay. So if somebody's interested, can they contact you or Leslie or reach
Yes.
out? Okay.
Yes, they can. My email is Cloose, CLOOSE @VIPmarketingWIO.com. I can make it longer, but that's all they have.
Great, thank you.
And all are welcome. This is a community effort. This is not, they said, I cannot emphasize this enough. These are not my decisions. They're not the decisions of Discover Carbon County. They're yours.
I agree, and I don't think 8 people should decide what we're gonna do totally either. Especially 8 people that aren't elected people.
Jerry, it doesn't have to be
yeah.
limited.
I see us shoving like the tax money, only 10% comes back to us, 90% is getting spent to advertise. I watched what happened to Moab from the first time I went to Moab till today. And you literally can't hardly drive through town in 2 hours. So the locals are the ones that suffer. Granted, the business people are making a lot more money, but it's destroyed what Moab was. And I really don't want to see that happen to Saratoga. Granted, I want it to grow slowly. I want it to grow. You know, I don't think we need to throw a whole bunch of money at getting people to come here because we're a destination anyway. I mean, you go anywhere in Colorado and they know Saratoga, Wyoming. A little podunk 1,700 people town, you know. So, and you say a retirement community is all it is. It isn't.
No. I just threw that out as.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're many things. And like I said, the brand is assigned by the visitor. I haven't completed the research.
Yeah. And I'm actually happy people would want to retire here because it's a wonderful place, but you know, the more people we drag here, the less it's Saratoga.
And really that's, the purpose of this exercise. I said there should be things that are preserved that we value and hold dear. But yet we do want tourists to come. So that is a balance.
There is.
We have to work together to find that. I couldn't agree with you more. I don't want to become like Moab.
Yeah.
So that's the purpose, is to put.
Yeah, and Moab, the place itself, it's a beautiful place to go in the desert, but it's chaos in town. And most of that's because they threw so much money at tourism and advertisement on TV, especially. Everybody goes there from all over the world now. Now it's ruined it. It really has.
One last question. How often, you say you're gonna have 4 meetings, how often are you gonna report back to the town? Wait until the end? Report your findings, or are you gonna come every couple of times?
These committees, I hope, will have a representative from the town council in each community.
Okay.
And your board representative from Discover Carbon County.
Okay.
So if it's not me, it'll be your representative from Discover Carbon
Perfect.
County reporting.
Perfect, thank you. Any additional questions? Thank you, Cindy.
Well,
Thank you, Carbon County Tourism Board.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll move on to Fran with the American Legion.
Good evening.
How are you, friend?
Good.
Good.
Have a very simple request. We would like to do an avenue of flags. We would like to donate an avenue of flags to Saratoga to represent our military. We have considered Bridge Street, putting a flag up on all the light poles there. Basically Saratoga town owns the light poles. CP&L only does the maintenance, so that's not an issue. But I was told that I have to get permission from because we would be using town employees to put the flags up. We would provide them, we would like them up 2, maybe 3 times a year for a couple weeks. 4th of July, Memorial Day and Veterans Day, if possible. And that's what we're asking for is that a good location for them? We think so.
You're talking Bridge Street,
We're talking Bridge Street, yes.
so probably a block on each side?
Wherever your light poles are down there.
Probably the same ones they use for the kids, for the graduates.
Exactly. And it's not a major study or anything. It's just something that the auxiliary would like to do as a community service.
And you're asking that our boys put them up?
Yes, and permission to do it.
I don't have a problem with it.
Sure would entertain a motion to go ahead and do this.
I would make a motion to go ahead and pass this and allow them to put flags up. That would be fine.
On Bridge Street.
Yeah, on Bridge Street.
Do I have a second to that motion?
1 second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Hi.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. When it comes time, friend, if you give Emery plenty of notice on what day you would like to put the flags up, so he can get the guys lined up to do it.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to council comments. I'll make this very brief and at the last meeting, it was brought up about changing the motto. And honestly, there was nothing voted on, no motions were made, nothing was taken. If the town wanted to change, now would be a good time. I don't think anybody on this council's in favor of changing the motto. I would have to ask for a vote, but or changing the brand, and I think it would probably remain where the Trout Leap and Main Street, if I have much to say about it. Anyway, we wore it on our patches by the police department for the longest time. You know that, John, and so do I. And it means a lot to us, and so anyway, we'll leave it at that. So, okay, we'll move on to Joan Evans. You would please come up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Davis, members of the council. My name is Joan Evans. I represent the Wyoming Government Investment Fund. I'm from Cheyenne, Wyoming, and it's a pleasure to be here with you this evening. The town of Saratoga is already a participant in the Wyoming Government Investment Fund. The fund is considered a local government investment pool that is an eligible investment under the statutes in regard to investing for state entities under public funds in Wyoming state statute. There are a few options in the state. There are actually 3 different local government investment pools. Karina, your treasurer talked earlier about WyoStar. You do have money in WyoStar. That's one of the pools. Wyoming Government Investment Fund is another pool, and then there is a third pool. I'm here tonight only to talk about the Wyoming Government Investment Fund and how it can be used as a short-term cash management tool for the town. Again, I mentioned you already are a participant, and hopefully hearing a little bit more information about the fund this evening will spark some interest to possibly more fully utilize it or ask some questions about doing that. So I'll talk a little bit about the services and features of the fund. So this fund has been available since 1996. The Wyoming State Legislature made it legal for Wyoming public entities to commingle their funds for the purpose of earning higher interest.
And all of the investments in this fund are designed to be compliant with what we call GASB, the Governmental Standards Accounting Board Statement number 79. We'll talk about that a little bit more and why it's important for you to think about that. Not all local government investment pools follow GASB 79. We have 3 investment options to help Wyoming public entities. And each of those options seeks to help you to earn interest income, preserve your principal, and maintain liquidity. But the number one priority is safety, because these are public funds. So we don't think about them like we think about our own investments or where we would put our own money or how can we earn the most interest. That's actually not the first thing that you should be thinking about when thinking about investing public funds. So we have 3 options. We have a liquid asset series. We have what's called the term series, which is just new starting in July of 2024. And we do offer an array of FDIC insured CDs. So I'm going to talk about each of those a little bit individually. The one that you already take advantage of is what we call our liquid asset series. It works pretty much like a money market account. You can create as many accounts as you want under your title of your town. And so it's not uncommon for an entity to have 3 or 4 different accounts. Might be depreciation reserve, might be water and sewer, kind of similar to what your treasurer talked about earlier with the diversified accounts under your bank and under WyoStar. This fund is AAA rated by Standard & Poor's. And what that means is all of the securities within the pool, and we have close to $1.2 billion of Wyoming public money in the pool right now. All of those securities have to be of very high credit quality. So we're talking about US Treasuries, commercial paper. They have to adhere to that AAA rating. They do adhere to Wyoming state statutes on public fund investing, and they do adhere to GASB 79. We have no minimum deposit in the liquid asset fund. We have no withdrawal limitations. We have no balance requirements. And the policy of this pool is to maintain a $1 net asset value. So in theory, you put $1 in, you receive $1 out, and you're earning interest in the meantime. Interest is calculated daily and credited to your account monthly, and we cannot exceed a 60-day weighted average maturity. And that's very important when you're thinking about having your money liquid and available to you. So if this fund were to be invested out 120 days, 180 days, out to a year, and many of the participants want to pull money out of the fund is not considered a liquid tool for you. So that 60-day weighted average maturity is very important. Our new program, WGIF term, is really for larger entities that have a $500,000 minimum investment that they want to make. And so what you're doing here is you're matching up a maturity with a rate. And so this is really a very valuable tool for laddering out your cash flows. And so this is brand new. A lot of entities are having us help them with a cash flow analysis, thinking about how they might match up the maturity with the rate because you're locking in a rate. In the liquid pool, that rate changes every day. And so it's really tied to that Fed funds rate. Right now on your sheet, I believe today's rate was 5.15. That's up on the left-hand side, upper corner of your rate sheet. But again, that rate changes daily. And so right now you're probably hearing a lot of information about the Fed thinking about lowering interest rates. The market is pricing in maybe 4 rate cuts by the end of the year. So that rate you'll see start to tick down. If you participate in the term program, you can see those rates over on the right-hand side of the sheet. You would choose a maturity, you would choose a rate, and that rate is locked in for you for that term. So it can be very value as if we're in a declining interest rate environment like we're kind of approaching right now. Again, there is a minimum investment size with the term program, and we're happy to help with cash flow analysis if that's something that's of interest to the town.
You said that was 500,000?
500,000, yes. The third program is our FDIC insured purchase program. So this is really for an entity that says, you know, I have 500,000, I have $250,000 we want to lock up in a maturity, but it's not really for an entity that has 5 million or 10 million. Because you have to parse those out into $250,000 increments to be eligible for FDIC insurance. So some of our smaller entities, cities and towns use this to purchase CDs. You can see those rates and those maturities. They're under the liquid rate for the 7-day average, and we can price those out for you at any time. The minimum term is 60 days, really goes up to about a year. Most entities don't purchase longer than a year. And the minimum investment amount is 95,000. So some of the benefits of becoming a participant, we'll flip over to page 6. Again, you have 3 options for investing that you can use in tandem to really meet your different needs. We have a very dedicated team. Again, I'm here in Wyoming, available to you at any time. Actually, spent many of my growing up years in Carbon County. Please don't tell my mom who lives in Rollins that I was in Saratoga tonight. She'd be very mad that I did not come over to say hi. So let's keep that on the down low, if you don't mind. Leslie, please. But we also have a dedicated client services group to Wyoming. So you'll see Rachel and Amber's numbers. I joked this evening that they're not here, but they're always available to us. They're actually the ones who are doing transactions on your funds. If you're doing a wire transfer, if you're purchasing a CD, if you're purchasing a term product, they're taking the trades on your account. We do have our online management portal with Connect. I believe you're already using that. You're able to move money back and forth. If you have a variety of accounts, you do, of course, still utilize your local bank, and you move money back and forth into the WGIF programs as needed. You can do that yourself, your staff, whoever you decide to give permission to do that, or we can help you. Our client services can help you. Just some additional resources that we offer to our participants. We have monthly market update webinars that we do the second Friday of every month. They're 30 minutes. I don't know if any of you have ever participated in them, but you get an invitation from me. It's really helpful. We talk about the economy. We talk about what the Fed's doing with interest rates. And it really makes you a little more informed about your investments, thinking ahead, being able to kind of analyze which route might be more beneficial for you. On page 7, I do want to spend a few more minutes on the GASB 79 compliance. And I think a good example of why GASB 79 is important is if you think about the Silicon Valley banking crisis. So people started to lose confidence in particular banking institutions, and they wanted to get their money out. If that money is not available, there starts to become panic, and institutions have to cash in securities that aren't mature yet and maybe take losses on those securities, which cause a loss overall to the value of your account. So GASB 79 requires us to do several things, which are shown on the bottom. But the liquidity portion is the liquidity requirement is, I think, is what's really important. We are required to have 10% of the overall amount of our funds. So let's think about that. If we have $1.2 billion in the Wyoming Government Investment Fund, at any given time, we have to have 10% of that in overnight liquidity and 30% in 7-day liquidity. So during the time of the banking crisis, our team was really thinking ahead and wondering, will Wyoming public entities get nervous? Will they think, what if my money isn't safe in this fund? What if something happens to this fund? So we bumped that up. Our 7-day liquidity was up to maybe 60% during that time of kind of uneasiness. So our portfolio managers are constantly really reading the market, thinking about what's best, and at the bare minimum, adhering to the GASB 79. We have to have very diversified credit quality. And again, we have to stick to that 60-day weighted average maturity. So there's a few things on page 8 that set us apart from other local government investment pools that I mentioned. We are owned and operated by our participants. So we have a board of trustees that's elected every November from among the participants who have signed resolutions and have active balances in the account. And we are sponsored by the Wyoming School Boards Association and the Wyoming Association of Municipalities. So they are there to kind of help us get the word out about the program and provide a short-term cash management tool for you. Again, our online portal, I think, really sets us apart. Our customer service, our ability to answer questions if you call and you don't know how to solve a particular problem, we're really here to help you with that. We can do direct investment of state aid. A lot of school districts use that a lot, and some counties use that. The benefits of participating are you have professional management of this fund by PFM Asset Management. So I mentioned I live in Cheyenne. I am an employee of PFM Asset Management. We are one of the larger managers of public funds in the US. We only manage public money. And we are hired by the board to be the investment advisor for this fund, the administrator, and what we call the distribution agent, which is really marketing. And that's what I'm here to do this evening and talk to you about the fund. Again, our focus is on safety first, liquidity, you being able to access your funds when you want them, and then we focus on yield. If you look at page 10, shows a little bit of our depth of bench in the public fund space. PFM Asset Management, again, a leader in local government investment pools. We are in 18 states. And so each one of those pools is specifically designed only to meet that state's statutes on investing public funds. So none of these monies are commingled with other states. Wyoming's fund is completely separate, completely adheres to Wyoming statutes on public funds, but you can see that the diversification of the management of the funds here on page 10. We also offer individual portfolio management. So some entities in Wyoming, they do participate in the pool, but they say we want our funds separately managed. And so there's a handful of those. The University of Wyoming is one. We have a couple of counties. And so then we carve out their funds and manage them based on their investment policies. And so you have to have about a $50 million threshold in funds to be separately managed. But then that's a fixed income portfolio that's just managed for you. We do bond account management. So if entities are issuing bonds, we can do that. It's not super common in Wyoming. Now that schools are constructed by the state, but there are 650 initiatives going on, those types of things. And we can manage those bond proceeds and do all of the arbitrage reporting for you as a courtesy for that. Governance, I've already mentioned this. The Board of Trustees is elected by the participants and oversees the fund. So they are responsible for hiring folks like PFM Asset Management to do roles like investment advising. If you look at page 13, you can see all of the different entities that are involved in making this fund flow very flawlessly. We have US Bank as our custodian, so actually holding the funds for the pool. We have our two sponsors, an independent auditor and legal counsel as well. Our Board of Trustees gives you an example of who is on our board. We have Angela Johnson, who's the clerk treasurer of the town of Meeteetse. She's been a little bit more new to the Wyoming Government Investment Fund Board, but she's been wonderful. She's been a great resource in referring other entities and to us. So I really appreciate her. Moving along, if you look at page 16, this is a sample of what your statements look like. Again, you are already participating. So you see these, everyone who are able to download those from the Connect portal at any time. If you go to page 19, you'll see again that you can access that portal 24/7. You can view your transactions. We have multi-factor authentication for our security on the portal. And again, you set the permissions for anyone who has access to your portal. You can view the current rates and all of that, forms and documents if you need to make changes to your account. Page 20 is just a little bit of a snapshot of what that portal looks like. If you're logged in, you can see your balance. This is not your balance, but it could be if you transfer additional funds into. So I'm just giving you an idea. So you can kind of see what the portal looks like. On page 21, you are already a participant. So you've already passed a resolution at some time, this council, to participate in the funds. And so that is already taken care of. And my contact information, as well as Amber and Rachel, who all also support Wyoming, on page 22. And I'd be happy to take any questions.
You're all covered. Question? Mike?
No.
Hey, well, let's take this under advisement. Thank you for coming over and presenting this to us.
Absolutely.
And we'll be in touch.
Sounds great. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Mayor, members of the council. Pleasure to be here this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kathy, did you have any questions?
No questions. Thank you
All right.
for your time.
All right. All right.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, John. Okay, we'll move on to WAM voting delegate for the 2025 winter workshop.
Is to be held Thursday, January 23rd. And we need to appoint a voting delegate or an alternate. There's only one vote allowed for the city or town. Any elected or appointed official staff may be designated by the town, city as its official voting delegate.
You said that was in Cheyenne?
Question on that. I'm on the WAM board now. Wouldn't I be the voting delegate?
We can put you down. We just have to fill it out on their form.
Okay. Up to you guys.
Sounds good to me.
That's good to me.
Well, you're it.
I thought that's what we discussed
Do
in
we-
land, and that's why you stayed.
You need
Yeah.
an official.
Probably ought to do an official
I'd
nomination.
make the motion to make Chuck the voting delegate for the winter.
I will second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Okay. Move on, we need an alternate.
Flutie,
Nope.
you and him are the only two that will be here.
Running, yeah, that aren't running, so. Gary would have to be the
That is good.
alternate.
Yeah.
Have a motion?
I'd
I'll make a motion, like Jerry, the alternate.
I'm a second to that one.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Jerry will be the alternate.
Yep.
Tough things to get through. Okay, we'll move on to police department, Mike.
Good evening.
Hi, Mike.
Let's see, last 2 weeks since we last met, the police department has fielded 239 calls for service. The month of August, there were 27 citations and 16 warnings made. The new patrol cars are here. If you haven't got a chance to look at them, I think the guys did really well finding them, picking them out. They're in really good shape. We're working on getting the radios mounted in them. Take a couple of weeks. Everybody's kind of inundated right now. We did get the graphics for the black car, and I had ordered a set of graphics for the other car. Not the new white one, but the other one that's just got the star on the side of it. So we'll kind of, I don't want to say the word rebrand, but going to make it look like the rest of them. Let's see, we kind of lost out on the MDTs. When I talked to you, we had 2 that we had found. We were only able to get 1, and it was actually just a little bit more. We're still within budget, but we were only able to get the 1. The power phone, the 911 reporting system interface that we purchased here a few months ago. Actually, everything's in. It's all the software is in, the portals are there, the VPNs are in. We're actually going to be doing end user training for the dispatchers this coming into this week into the first of next week. So really excited about that. That's going to be a good thing for the dispatchers. And really, that's all I had.
I got a question for you, Mike.
Sir.
Talking about the 911, the public meeting that we had here with the combined dispatch center.
Yes.
Public was told that there would be another public hearing or another public meeting in Rollins.
Yes.
Have you heard any more about that?
We've been unable to get everybody together to make a trip because we didn't want to just have a meeting without having more or additional information than what we had here. So the sheriff, Chief Ward, and I have been trying to get together with some of the other communities that have combined centers and go visit them and really kind of dig into it a little bit deeper. We've been unable to get that together yet, but we're still talking in order to make those make that happen.
Okay, because I've had people ask,
Yep.
you know, that couldn't attend this meeting that wanted to attend the one in Rollins.
Absolutely not done yet. Like I say, we just decided that we better have a little bit more information to add to what we did before.
Okay, Additional question? All right, thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
With the fire department. Have nothing to report. They didn't get with me. I don't know what the status is on their ladder truck.
I actually did talk to Pat earlier today and the ladder truck is being tested. The guy hasn't come to test it yet. And he's supposed to be doing that the next week or so. For it to all pass.
Okay. There you have it. All right. We'll move on to the recreation department.
Nothing to report.
Nothing new to report?
Not yet.
Okay. Thank you. When's your next?
Tonight.
Tonight, okay.
It was supposed to be last night, but
Yeah.
it fell on a holiday.
Okay, we'll move on to Department of Public Works, Mr. Emery.
Okay. So as you guys can see over there at the park, we're kind of plugging away at that, putting the water line in, power cable for the bathroom. We're working on some fine grading this week and I would like to, I reached out to some contractors and I got a group, they actually did some work in town up here at the church who's willing to come in next week and do the curb in the valley pan for that. And the price is, it's real good. I think they're more than capable of doing a really good job. It would be nice to get that in and knocked out. But if we can, and they are willing to do the asphalt approach too. That's up to you guys. We can do that now or we can do that later. It does makes no difference to me.
These guys are willing to do that?
Yeah, add that on. It's on there. We can approve the bid with or without it. There's just an option. It was on the plans. When I sent it to them and they quoted it out anyway. So.
What's your recommendation on that? Do you want it done now or just wait?
I'd like to probably wait, just to see what we end up, doing right there in that area where it ties into the road.
Okay.
I would like to wait.
Yeah, I'd say we just wait. So are you gonna be ready for them next week?
Yeah.
Okay. Any additional questions? They move forward.
All in favor?
Yeah.
You want us to vote on that? Is that where you're at?
Yes. Yes.
To move forward? What's the bid?
At 47, it's for the pan and the curb together.
That's not bad. In today's world.
Yeah. Today's roll.
These guys did. Really nice
230
con.
yards in one day.
How much?
130 yards.
Oh, Leo and them.
Yeah, that's who it was.
We had actually another quote, the guy backed out on it. That he just didn't have time. We got two.
They're efficient.
Yeah.
All right, well, do I have a motion to go ahead and accept this bid? It's under the $75,000.
I'll make a motion to
Have a
accept this
second?
bid.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, this next one, so the last couple of meetings I talked about, we got on the intended use plan for a pretty large sewer project to complete the lines, replace the lines in the river that are getting old and deteriorating, and then also do the special purpose tax lines up on the hill, as much of those as we can do. The intended use plan we got on there for $3.2 million project, the principal forgiveness outlined was 1.575. So that's half. Pretty much it's $1.5 million grant to get that part of that project. So as part of getting involved with the state revolving fund is a pretty intensive application, especially where we're going to get in the river. So I started on the environmental process. EA, I'm going to need some help getting through the facilities plan, just time wise. I don't have time to sit down and write the whole thing and getting the environmental done.
Just don't sleep.
I've got diesel engine. I can go hard, but you got to put fuel in. So I had them to get a task order just so we got something on the books, and it's time and materials, so I'll try to help them out, like just sending letters out, developing this document is helpful for all the permitting and environmental side. And save what we can, but depending on what DEQ determines the environmental route is that we've got to do, whether it's CADX or a Fonzie, will determine the ending cost. So that's why they have the 14K in there and the 20. So if we got to do a Fonzie, which is basically, you got to go through the whole rigmarole or BA and everything else, but which I suspect being in the river, that's probably what we end up to do. We could, if it's okay, I would like to get them on board to help us with that. It's due in October. It's definitely not an application that we start 4 days before and get it done and get it turned in. So. They've got to get, Dave Ingles is a guy that works kind of part-time for them, and he's done several of these. So Craig reached out to him and he's gonna help it with this. We've got a couple of phone calls.
That total, that attached in there.
Yeah, it's in the, I think it's on the backside of one of the pages. Yeah, it's item number 14. So on that page number 23, down there at the bottom of that table, that just shows what they, depending on whether or not they do an EA or a Fonzie or a CADX, and it's all based off of our master task order we have with them. So they'll just bill out up to that amount to get the project completed. So if it's less hours, it's less money for us. It's not really bid. We're saying we're going to bill out up to that amount of money at our rates we've already agreed on.
I have a motion to go ahead and approve this. She would call it a quote. 14,000, not to exceed $20,000 for EA. Move forward on this Saratoga sanitary sewer improvement.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Between 14,000 and 20,000.
20,000.
Engineer, do I have a second to that motion? 1 second. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
This packet, I just, instead of writing like a whole other project narrative, I just gave everybody a copy with the map on it. You guys kind of read through it. It gives a little more detail of what that sewer project looks like. There's probably environmental side, probably more you need, but instead of writing 2 different documents, just printed that out for you guys so you can kind of see more detailed what it entails. Parks pool, and the pool will be last day, I believe, is tomorrow. They got a little party down there, and then the next couple of weeks we'll get that thing winterized. Like I already talked about, curb over there at the park and the water line in for the sprinkler in the bathroom. Power cable. Parks, as soon as it starts freezing at night, we'll blow all the sprinklers out, get those winterized. This will be the last week of mosquito spraying. It's getting pretty cool at nights, and it's not kind of cost a diminishing return. So this will be it for this week. Last year we did, I think we went 1 more week than we did this year, but since and spending the chemicals on it, especially at $100 a gallon. So and then after that, grant reporting, we'll start getting that taken care of. We got about $42,000 in grants for this season. We'll get all the required reports in for that. Streets milling starting next week. We'll put some stuff out on Facebook with the map showing kind of the roads where we'll be working. And kind of towards the end of the milling, they're going to haul in their paving equipment, start doing those overlays that we had with that bigger road project, which is, 13th, 11th, some of the Branby, CJ, Pick Pike. So we'll get those paved, and that's been a pretty solid schedule. So we'll, if anything changes, let you know. We plan on doing, lanes at a time, keep things open. So keep people in and out of their houses. Start doing some more street sweeping around town. And while they're paving and their hot plants going, we're trying to capitalize that on do some more of these bigger patches while we can get asphalt and their hot plants up and rocking and rolling. So on the street side, there's those that's the bigger things. Water, we got the water tank application for level 3. We'd kind of talked about that for construction funding. We got that turned in last week. It was due. So I got in on time. So we'll see what happens there. And it's kind of a waiting game. That'll be a long process. Probably not, if that all goes through, we won't see any construction probably till 2026 by the time we get thing on that. Lead and copper inventory is due in October. We're pretty much wrapped up with that. That'll be a huge thing to be done with.
Are you still getting quite a few?
We got a lot more than I thought we would. We've got, I think, over 100 of those, which is better than some communities for sure.
Did you find any lead pipe?
I think as far as lead pipes go, I don't think there's any risk of that. Lead goosenecks, I think there's probably several left.
Yeah.
That 4-inch that like you were hooked up to, that you're no longer hooked up to. I think it's safe to say, honestly, that there's a chance, and that's how we reported it. Like it could be likely to be lead goosenecks. But as far as the service lines, I think there's any left.
Yeah.
If there ever were any actual.
I don't know if there ever were any
lines, but goosenecks for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But I think if we, over time, if we continue to, we go after those 4-inch old cast lines, I think that'll eliminate those, which would be nice.
Good.
Yeah. So, which I mean, they're not as rated as a big of a deal. I don't understand why.
Still lead in the water line.
Well, as long as your water's not corrosive, it's really not as big of an issue. You got acidic water. That's what that leaches the lead into the water. It's just the big problem. Where was it? Okay. Yeah, those are the big things on the water. As planning and zoning, any questions, water, park, sewer, streets, we passed.
She was that person today.
I'll go on the planning commission and the P and Z.
Sure.
All right, so P and Z, the planning commission at their last meeting made a recommendation to adopt the stamp plan as an amendment to the comprehensive plan. Chris is here. He's Olson is the lead craftsman on said report, I guess we could call him. It's been gone over and gone through by the planning commission several times. We had the 3 public meetings. And the reason we bring it, the formal adoption process comes into play, right? Because we could leave it sit on the table and just, we know it's there and we know it's available to read. But if we want to use it as leverage and weight in grant applications, it goes a lot further to be formally accepted in some fashion or another. So if we want to get a TAP grant to do a path from the school to the other school, or when the highway, comes through and we want to partner with them on a TAP grant, try and get the sidewalks done, like our application with this being formally adopted has a lot more weight than just saying, hey, it was in the stamp plan. And it's like, oh, okay, well, what's the stamp plan? Well, it's the plan we did and it's there. But if we have a resolution or something that actually adopts it, they go, okay, it was a plan, it was done, it was formally adopted. So that's the real importance with that. And there's a lot of opportunities in here, I think, to capitalize on stuff we already have. We're not really proposing to build anything new, except the path from the high school to the middle school, elementary to the middle high school. So I would love to see it get adopted as an amendment and we can use it to expand on things we already have. And there's a lot of good recommendations in there policy wise, flashing signs for public safety. It was thorough and I think it was fair. I think Chris did a good job of listening to people and presenting what we heard in a factual fashion. So it's up to, the level of adoption is entirely up to you guys.
Has everybody had a chance to thoroughly go through it?
Not thoroughly.
They barely got it.
Do anything tonight. Chris is up here, so if you have any questions for him, just out of sake of his time and whatnot, anything for him, that'd be great to hit him with that tonight. And talk about it again next meeting or the meeting after. Whatever you guys want to do.
Does anybody have questions for Chris? What's you say the only thing new was the one path? Other than that, what was your biggest finding? What did you come up with? Your biggest finding that we needed to?
Well, I think, so, hi, everybody, I'm Chris. And I just want to say it's a pleasure to be here tonight, and it's a pleasure to work with the community over the last year. It's been 364 days since I first presented to you guys. It was a leap year, so I got an extra day, right, to come in on time. But yeah, it was a real pleasure, and I think the biggest takeaway is funny of kind of a theme about being Saratoga tonight. We heard a lot about we want to be Saratoga. We want to do things for our community. We care about safety. We care about the elderly. We care about kids, you know, all those kind of things that are pretty easy to support, right? And I think a couple of the biggest takeaways I'd say, Emery, was the Elm Avenue Safety Corridor. I think that was a really important project that came to light from talking with the community, but making that corridor safer. I know we've been focused on our speeding and like kind of traffic safety, but also pedestrian safety and getting kids moving in and out of there. That was really important. I thought in terms of big picture stuff, our recommendations on 130 through town and how kind of coordinating, getting, I guess, our ducks in a row with Wyoming DOT about the timing of that and how we partner and were they supportive and those kind of things. Those are kind of big things. And then some recreation improvements that are pretty low cost. There's a lot of kind of low hanging fruit there that's not high budget, high cost items, which I know was a big thing. Chuck, when we even did the interview, it was like March 23, right? When we met, maintenance and, you know, cost and budgeting were really important. And bringing Emery on board as we were getting this process started was a really big help in understanding like what are the maintenance capabilities and is that going to be, you know, too overwhelming and all this. And I think we come up with recommendations that make improvements that are incremental but significant, that are not high dollars, right? And just in character with the community. I think if I were going to sum it up, that's what I'd say. So did I?
Yeah, you did for me. Yeah, I don't know how the rest of the council, you know, some of the biggest thing, my biggest takeaways is a lot of it is building on what we already have. And the speed limit signs, and of course, I'm a real supporter in that pathway on Elm and working around the hot pole and bringing it up over to Veterans Island. There's a lot of potential right there at, like you said, at a low cost.
Yeah, and I think of things that, so when I leave, right? So we spend a year together and then someone has to make it happen, right? And Emery's right. So if it's adopted by council, that gives it more weight in terms of getting funding. That's really its big thing. It doesn't commit the town to having to do XYZ thing, but it sort of sets you up to leverage all the work you've done over last year with the community, all the meetings we've had, all the input and everything. Yeah, and it just gives you kind of a roadmap for like, how would we move forward? Yeah, and stuff that's achievable, I think.
Thank you. Any additional questions? It's up to the council on whether they want to adopt it tonight or postpone until the next meeting and review it some more.
I'd like to review it some more. I've reviewed quite a bit of it, but I'd like a little more time on it.
I agree. Okay. All right.
So I'll work with Emery on the timing of that. If you have any questions, probably through Emery to me, happy to get on a phone call, a web meeting, whatever, to chat if any of you have questions. It is really important, just to emphasize that, you know, I think it's really important to the community and to respect the community's input to adopt it as an amendment to the comp plan so that, you know, we can do something. But yeah, I totally appreciate needing time to take a look, and I'm available. And that was the intent, right?
Mhm.
It was to make sure, we're not trying to, hey, we gotta do this today. I think we have a little time.
Yeah.
To do this, and we wanna be thoughtful and transparent about it too, so. Appreciate that.
You bet.
Chris, we appreciate you. We
Yeah.
appreciate the work you did and we'll move forward from here.
Okay,
All right.
all right.
Thank you. Thanks for coming up tonight,
No,
Chris.
just what I took the way I haven't taken yet, which is 125.
Oh,
Yeah, to be honest, I can't believe we never driven 125 from Granby up here before.
oh, is that right?
Yeah, a lot of fire damage, but
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, beautiful. I love this town. Thanks for having me.
Thank
You
you.
bet. Thank you very much.
Which reminds me, of the next meeting, you guys will have a zone change hearing. The Planning and Zoning Commission had a hearing on that, made a recommendation for approval. By ordinance, you guys are required to have a hearing as well before you adopt it. So that will be on that one. That's a lot up on the hill. It's posted up there with a big old sign. I'll probably email you guys out of FOF before the meeting, so you got a little bit more info on that. And then as well, on September 17th, we'll be having a hearing for the SRF project, for the sewer project. We've got to do that for part of the funding, so we'll get both those at the next meeting. We'll have a public input party.
Okay.
And then the Planning and Zoning Commission is gonna have a little short-term rental workshop September 5th, 1 p.m., which is Thursday at 1 o'clock. It's pretty much rounds up my spiel. Unless you guys got questions.
Any questions?
No.
Okay. Thanks, Emery.
Thanks, Emery.
Okay, we'll move on to the Community Center Joint Power Board.
I don't have anything new to report. We haven't had a meeting since our last council meeting. The next meeting is September 9th, 4:30 at Community Center.
Thank you, Kathy.
Mhm.
We'll move on to Recreation Committee.
Nothing new to report. The next meeting's on September 9th. We didn't have a meeting this week due to the holiday.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Recreation Commission.
Next meeting's
Oh.
the 9th.
Nothing to report from the south. It's in the airport board. I have nothing to report with the airport board meeting. Their next meeting is September 9th, 2 to 3 o'clock here. We'll move on to the ambulance.
You got a gentleman in the back that's waving his arm.
You have a question? Come to the mic, please.
No, I don't think it will. Just a quick question
Well, then I'm not taking your question, Dave.
about the WAC.
Please come to the podium.
Take a question anywhere. What about the WAC conference? Any news on that? It's coming up in mid-September. It's gonna be very, very big. As
I
big,
have no news to report on it.
you're on the airport board and there's.
Yeah, I have, and I didn't make the last meeting, Dave, so I wasn't updated. So I have nothing to report on it.
Does the council know anything about the WAC? Okay,
So tell us about it.
that's the airport board's.
Thanks, Dave. Okay, we'll move on to the Wyoming Emergency Medical Service Board, and I have nothing to report there. Is there any new business to be brought before the town? We have a motion to move into executive session in matters of litigation in accordance with Wyoming statute 16-4-405 A, double I, and triple I.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
All in.
Emery, would you please join us in this meeting?
Hey, Emery. Could you confirm when you all get in there that Chuck's gonna call me on his cell phone? You're on mute, but I assume that's a nod, yes.
So they're gonna call you when they get in there.
Okay. As soon as they find the keys.
Yep.
Okay. You're on mute if you're talking to me.
No, she was just making sure that I muted it.
Kathy, are you there?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, all right. Can you hear Kylie, Kathy?
Let me see.
You mute your.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Kathy, can you mute your for the Zoom meeting?
Explaining what she's working with another attorney on. Anyway, so, the Chatfields called me, probably a month and a half ago.
Kathy, you need to mute.
Yeah, okay, really the only question I have is when we identified this one-off, it was brought to our attention. Are there any others like that that may come up in the future where it would have to be decided that we follow the same rule? Or is this just a one-off?
It's cold in here.
I know. I need my little butter heater in there.
Bring your blankie.
Cold in here. Turn the AC up in here, or was it just that warm in there?
It must be.
Right.
Grief.
Got the motion to end the executive session.
I'll make a motion to end the executive session.
Got a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Have a motion to call this meeting back to order.
Do you want me to tell me? I sure did.
Do I have a motion to call the meeting back to order?
I will make the motion to call the meeting back to order.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I.
Okay, what we're gonna do is, we have a chunk of land near the Saratoga Lake. That there's an adverse possession claim and going to be transferring this property under Wyoming statute. It will be less than the $500 amount to the Chatfields, to Mr. and Mrs. Chatfield. I have a motion to transfer this property under the Wyoming state statute of less than $500 to the Chatfields.
I would make the motion to transfer the land for the Chatfields.
Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed? Thank you. Is there any further business to be brought before the town? Seeing none, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed? Okay, meeting adjourned. Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you. Jen, I'll come
Guys.
by next week when I'm in town to pick up anything in my box and to sign anything you need, okay?
Thank you. Thank you.